Welcome back. This is Mrs. Rubright with Advanced Geometry. Today's lesson is 2.4, Use Postulates and Diagrams. So the first thing I need you guys to do is to copy the postulates from page 88 in your notebook. So turn to page 88 in your notebook and copy those postulates. I'm going to pause this video to give you guys a little bit of time to do that. Alright, so now that you copied the postulates from page 88 in your textbook into your notebook, let's go over some of these. State the postulate illustrated by the diagram. Can anyone tell me what A is illustrating? Can anybody tell me what A is illustrating? Yes. Postulate 7, which states? If two lines intersect, then they intersect at a point. If two lines intersect, then they intersect at a point. How about B? Postulate what? 11. What's that one state? If two planes intersect, they intersect at a line. Good. That one was on your quiz on Friday, correct? Or was that a chapter test? That was a chapter test, remember? And just knowing that, you could have gotten the answer correct, just knowing that it had to be a line and picking out the one that gave you a line. Use the diagram to write examples of postulates 9 and 10. So what is postulate 9? A plane contains at least 3 non-collinear points, so give me an example. Yes. Plane P is defined by points A, B, and C. The 3 non-collinear points A, B, and C. Plane P contains at least 3 non-collinear points A, B, and C. How about postulate 10? What is postulate 10? If 2 points lie in a plane, then the line containing them also lies in the plane. So give me an example for that one. What? Point A and B lie in plane P. Therefore, line AB lies in plane P. Points A and B lie in plane P, so the line N containing A and B also lies in plane P. Make sense? So you're probably thinking, wow, these are a lot of postulates. Do I have to have these memorized? Yes, you have to have them memorized. Not just the wording, but also which number they go with. Use the diagram in example 2. Which postulate allows you to say that the intersection of plane P and plane Q is a line? Which postulate tells you that plane P and plane Q intersect in a line? Yes. Postulate 11, good job. Do you guys see how you would not be able to answer this question unless you had this memorized? Welcome to the year of vocabulary, right? I told you guys there's so much vocabulary. There's tons of postulates, theorems, corollaries, all kinds of things that you have to memorize. This is the most memorization-heavy math class you will ever take. Use the diagram in example 2 to write examples of postulates 5, 6, and 7. So what's an example of postulate 5? What is postulate 5? Lily, what is postulate 5? Through any 2 points, there exists exactly one line. So through points A and B is line N. Line N passes through points A and B, right? Postulate 6. A line contains at least 2 points. Line N contains points A and B. 7. Jennifer, 7. If two lines intersect, then their intersection's at exactly 1 point. An example, how about line M and N intersect at point A? Sketch a diagram showing that line TV intersecting segment PQ at a point W, so that segment TW is congruent to segment WV. All right, so we have segment PQ, and line TV is intersecting it at point W. TV is intersecting PQ at point W, so that TW is congruent to WV. Is that the only way to draw it? No. Maybe my line went this way and my segment was going that way, or my segment was coming in on an angle, right? All that you have to have is that W is on segment PQ, and it is the midpoint of line TV. It's halfway between T and V, making these equal. Let's see how the textbook drew it. See, there's a little bit different, and that's fine. But these two segments are equal. This is a line segment, this is a line, and these two segments are equal. That's what needs to be in your diagram. Which of the following statements cannot be assumed from the diagram? Don't ever assume. You cannot assume. Don't ever, 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 ever assume in geometry. All right, so A, B, and F are collinear. Collinear, same line. A, B, and F are on the same line. Do we know that? A, B, and F. Yeah, that's not an assumption. They drew it right on the line. We're not assuming. So that one is fine. It's not something that cannot be assumed. It's just true. E, B, and D are collinear. E, B, and D. Would we be assuming that? Yeah, there's no line connecting them. We don't know. We know E and B are on the same line, B and D are on the same line, E and D are on the same line, but we don't know that all three of them are on the same line, right? Because we don't know that they connect and that they're all, any 2 points make a line. But when you have that third one, we don't know that they're all on the same line because it's not drawn. So we cannot assume this one. Segment AB is perpendicular to plane S. Yeah, it has that the little box saying, hey, I'm intersecting at 90 degrees. So that's not an assumption, it's just the fact, right? Segment CD is perpendicular to plane T. Segment CD is perpendicular to plane T. Well, if these two planes are perpendicular to each other and this lies on that plane, then yeah, it's going to be, right? Line AF intersects line BC at point B. AF intersects BC at point B. Yeah, it's definitely drawn. Solution. Oh wait, you can't assume this. You know why you can't assume this? Because they didn't put the mark. So you can't assume. Even though it's here, you can't assume it. See, I fell for that one. No drawn line connects them, so you can't assume that they're collinear, and with no right angle marked, you can't assume that segment CD is perpendicular to plane T. Okay, so there's actually two. Name a pair of supplementary angles in the diagram. So what do we know about supplementary angles? Supplementary angles add to 180. They form a linear pair. So we could go with angle TWP and angle, what can we go with this angle? PWV, right? These two. Or we could do TWP and TWQ, right? This angle and this angle. Or TWQ and QWV. right? Or QWV and VWP, right? Any two angles that form a straight line. Any of our linear pairs. In the diagram in example 4, can you assume that plane S intersects plane T at line BC? Can you assume that plane S intersects plane T at line BC? What do you think? I'm hearing a no. What else am I hearing? Yes, why? Because two planes intersect in a line. So it's not really an assumption, right? I don't like how they use the word assume when you're not even doing an assumption, because you're not really assuming. It's the fact that two planes intersect in a line and that line is clearly drawn. So I'm not really assuming, because you're not allowed to assume in geometry. Make sense? Explain how you know, see I like this wording better. Explain how you know that segment AB is perpendicular to line BC. This has the little marks, it's hard to see. All right, so AB is perpendicular to line BC. How do you know? See the little mark? It is given that line AB is perpendicular to plane S, therefore line AB is perpendicular to every line in the plane that intersects it at point B. So, line AB is perpendicular to line BC. Make sense? And that is everything on your notes on 2.4 using postulates and diagrams. We hope you enjoyed the lesson. Have a great day. Like and subscribe.